Hello, everyone. It's been quite a while. We've been very busy as usual. It's from daylight to dark, if you will, from the time we rise till we go to bed. But so a full day every day, and keeping very busy in very good way. And of course, as everything goes forward, the journey is. Has been long, but each day we get closer to the end of that tedious, long journey. Um, so I'll jump right into it, and let's look at the energetics, what's been coming in here currently over the last 48 hours and even more, and I need to include the day or so before that. All of these M1 flares is a lot of light. But when it began specifically with the combination of what you can call two flares simultaneously erupting um, twin twin flares, and so those were significant, and also because of the, let's say, the divine number attached with them, they were designated for the fifth wave, which is awakening now. And so with this, the fifth wave is awakening. I mentioned it in a post, I believe, about a week ago, because this is what's occurring, and what this typically means is since 2012 and counting 2012, every approximate 3 years there is another wave of awakening. So right at this time we have, if you will, 5 distinct waves of awakening that are in various stages of their development and progression, for to acclimatize to the overall fifth dimensional state with the Ascension where we're taking it. So this current fifth wave, if you will, is undergoing quite an intense period, for these ones have been divinely subjugated in their lives to very intense and traumatic experiences, and are carrying a lot of fear in the form of aggression, which would be blame, victimhood, and many other things. All of those fear attributes are contained, for the most part, within this fifth wave that is awakening, that they must master and change the ways. So it's a very compact, compressed time for them. And to facilitate the overall ascension, they must go through this process now, and they must make their choices now. And again, overall, as it always has been with this ascension, each one judges themselves by the choices they make. For example, you could have someone up in what you would call the third wave going forward, but if they made a negative fear-based choice, it will judge them to keep them stagnant or drop them a little bit lower. So it's like a video game as well, that you need to be very meticulous and conscientious, and with your purity, and know what you are doing with your ascension process in your inner work, so that you keep excelling forward. And at this point in time, where many of you have become very strong co-creators, what is occurring, you can create unnecessary negative experiences for yourself. So you need to be more meticulous where your thoughts are aligned with, where what you are saying, even what you are thinking, because your consciousness is directly connected either to the future or the past, which could keep you stagnant. So this is, one of the basics why we we say and we teach to one, stay in the now with your focus on going forward. And, the past, that it all had to occur to get you to where you're at now. But at this important, crucial time where your co-creation ability has become stronger, it also dictates what timelines you're in and what experiences you have. So if you go back to the past, if you will, and go back to the old ways, well, what it does, it lowers your energy and takes you back into that state of being where you don't wish to be, because we're going forward. There is no going back. But you can create loops for yourself, and you can create unnecessary stagnation. And this is why there are the teachers upon the planet, if you will, to purvey the most information possible to assist you to excel in this ascension. And if it wasn't necessary, there would not be any teachers upon the planet. And believe me, I would not be here, as with many others. So it is important, and it is occurring for a reason. Having said this, what I should do is, since December 24th, this was a pivotal energetic time. And what occurred is that on December 24th to 25th, there was an energetic shift in vibration upward. And because of this, what has occurred is many have become more empowered, because the vibration that was attainable by all on the planet had risen a higher level, where your empathic abilities, your sensitivities has heightened, so you're able to feel energy much more intense than you did before. But also your co-creator ability has strengthened, because these are two things that are very important as co-creators for you at creating the new world. So having said this, it's why you also need to be even more meticulous in this now with what you do, what you think, and what you say. And where, let's say in this past week, so many on all of the Ascension waves have been experiencing, even intense Ascension symptoms. One of the most common Ascension symptoms of this time is pains and aches in many places. The shoulder is a very important place for many feeling this, but generally all over. And with this, let me say, there's nothing wrong with your physical vessel. What is occurring is also where a higher vibration is here now, that your physical vessel is acclimatizing to it, going through the processes of upgrading so that it can acclimatize in even a higher vibrational state, where even more of your divine prowess comes and is available to you as a co-creator, and also an empath working directly with energy. And when I say that, once you've done your own inner work, you have your energy at a disciplined state, then you're able to discern what energy is yours and what is not. And it's at that point when you identify any energy that you're feeling. For example, if you no longer have fear, but all of a sudden you feel a fear energy, you know it's not yours, that it's coming from the collective. So what you do is you transmute through your unique tools and your processes that you have. So basically, though, the rule of thumb is to transmute. You don't want it in your energetic field, but the reason you are feeling it is because you're a divine one to transmute it. So the empath ability is not a curse, it's an absolute gift. So as you go forward, you will realize and understand the importance of this very powerful divine gift of being an empath. It's just that you may not be fully up there yet to the level to know how you use it and how it's very special and very important. And of course, I have to say, very graceful with it, because this is one of the ways that you come to learn to work with energy, because all of creation is energy, and you are given a co-creator status to interact and affect that energy. But what's occurring is you need to be disciplined with your inner work so that you're not creating negativity or fear in the outside reality. This is why it's important to do your mastery and overcome the old fear emotions, lower density emotions, acts, and actions, because you are a powerful co-creator, and we are going to a world where none of this exists, none of this fear, none of this blame, none of this victimhood, none of this frustration, no distortion, no disharmony. So everything is harmonious, to keep it, pretty simple. So with this, there's been a lot of magnetism and plasma being delivered to the planet from the sun. So these energetic values are oriented and directed towards certain, let me say, waves and certain energy levels. For example, to keep it simple, the magnetism is to apply more density and more weight, if you will, to this fifth awakening wave, for the most part, to compress it more so that they master their experiences quicker. So what it does, it puts ones into a place of surrender instead of fighting out of aggression and fear, that they find that they'll be inundated with it because they become a magnet, a magnetic negative magnet, and they finally go to a place where they surrender, if you will, and give up the fighting and say there has to be another solution. But at this point of surrender, it's then that they open up the answers, and they began to get the answers to what they must do, and then they began to rise in their empowerment. So it's all part of the process. And simultaneously, what we were also given was a sort of a reprieve, if you will, that came in from so many subsequent M1 flares over the last 36 hours, if you will, perhaps a little longer, that for the higher waves, it kept giving us enough energy to not be in so much discomfort, but also at the same time to be energized to transmute the dense energetic overload effects that was coming from the fifth wave during their process. Because when they're in fear and aggression and all of the venom flying out of them, it's actual energy that needs to be transmuted out of reality. It needs to be taken out. So you're given the power, if you will, to be able to transmute this excess. And one of the reasons why we don't want to drop the dimension, because fear and aggression does it. So you have a team, if you will, first, second, third wavers are all transmuting this excess negative fear energy so that we sustain this higher timeline, so that we are building the house where all will come, if you will. So it's necessary to sustain this, and this is why this extra energy is supplied also to us. Now, the diamond light coating is very important. It's an accepted belief to the extent of those that are more into the Christ and Sophiahood, if you will, and with that knowing. And it's important with this that ones know that you're beginning to project in your reality outside of you your connection to your multidimensional abilities, and also your connection to your etheric portals, and your access to a much higher knowledge, and also to bring in more light for your physical vessel with your crystalline process. But I don't want to get into, it's not the time yet to get into more detail with that, but we're just touching on the importance of it. So many of you may have seen I put out a post the other day, yesterday, just asking ones, if you see the formation in the sky with your eyes of something similar to the diamond shapes taking places, take a picture of it, and let us know the location, and send it to I, or put it on the post to share with others, because what it indicates for you, the one that's able to see it, it also identifies you as you're at a certain level in your process, if you will, that you're able to have that connection with reality that you can actually visually see with your eyes, but also create it, that you are connected with it. So it's a very important divine attribute. And of course, it serves some more divine purposes as we go forward. So the entire 5D ley line grid, the white light, is the new reality, and we have that for the most part all built with its primary structure. And energetically, we are also divinely doing other things such as Mother Arc pillars and other activations that need to be done, because as the overall vibrational level of the first, second, third, fourth wavers, as this level raises, it allows us to do more energetic work that keeps building the vibrational levels. So there is the two realities, the duality. There is the higher timeline where all of this takes place and keeps creating, building forward. And then there is the lower timeline that you have a foot in, because what we're doing is we're taking this whole thing forward as a whole. So that is essentially how it is occurring. So the crystal diamond, if you will, there's many different, well, I shouldn't say many, but there's more than one definitions for things, but they all really mean the same thing as we go higher. But there are many labels for many different important things, and of course there are some things that are trivial that may not be irrelevant, but with your discernment, your divine discernment, the purer you are with that, the purer and easier your discernment is and works. So energetically, this is what is basically occurring with many right at this time. So you're feeling many aches and pains overall, and again, this is part of what is going on, and most of these aches and pains. Now, this is very important that you're also feeling. So you need to understand that you're empathic, which is also a form of telepathy, which is picking up the energy from this fifth wave. So, for example, if you get a pain in your leg when you're perfectly healthy, you're picking up many down here that, let's say, as part of their process, had pain in their legs. So you're transmuting this, and what these ones will find is miraculous cures that, in whatever way, the pain in their leg will go. So you're giving them a little bit of a reprieve, if you will, that also gives them the divine encouragement and the confirmations to keep going forward. So the way that creation and divinity works, it's all inclusive, and the total inconnectivity with it, and the intricate details, because everything is affected by creation, if you will. So in each particle or molecule, if you wish to look at it, is really all of the commands, or most of the commands of creation, that are created in what you would think is a absolutely microscopic space, but in reality space and time is not constant. So even within a molecule, you could have a whole dimension in there, a whole galaxy, a whole universe, and you can access that as well. But when you are divinely allowed, if you will, and I say allowed because we're all pretty well signed in here at our soul level to do this mission, and because of that, we cannot just leave. It's why, all of us are still here for the most part. Some, when they complete their part of the mission, they ascend. But for the most part, there is a huge ground crew here that is responsible to evolving humanity forward into the fifth dimension, hence the planetary ascension. And to do this, there are many ascended masters upon the planet, and I'll use these, ascended masters as well. But we need labels to identify ones. It makes it easier. That are not fully, these ascended masters are not fully in their power, nor are they awakened yet to more of what their roles are. Because again, we have different levels of consciousness and empowerment, which is their divine identity. But again, it's like a video game. They have to do their work to gain their divine identity. For the most part, there are some very rare cases where ones are abruptly put into their power, but that is because they have a certain divine role, and a divine clarion call has been put, if you will, to that soul, and in very unusual circumstances, the one will rise up very quickly out of the slumber of the matrix and the old world. So, one of the things, when Femke and I assist ones, but this has been prevalent all through my teaching, through assisting and guiding ones on their journey, is that ones doubt themselves sometimes. They don't trust. If they get a instinct or a compulsion to do something, they'll stop and they'll question it with the logical mind. And what I say is, don't do that, or at least limit that. If you feel to do something, do it, because this instills your trust. And the moment that you use the consciousness to begin to question what you feel to do, then what occurs is you enter doubt into the equation. Doubt is actually fear, and it's the opposite. It is the lack of trust is doubt, and the lack of trust is fear. So, basically and simply, trust yourself fully with your actions. You're acting always out of the heart, meaning you never do any wrong, and you need to go into certain experiences. So you don't wish to prevent yourself from going into your experience of building your trust. Because in that experience of building your trust, exchanging the fear, bringing in the trust, this trust is what allows for more of your magical world to appear, and it gives you the confirmations that keeps taking you higher and higher. And it takes you higher and higher through the experience that you have. It puts the imprint into the consciousness, which gets embodied into the seat of your soul as a knowing. And then this knowing is absolute trust, which helps you to navigate just so much more easier in the least through the timelines in your journey. So I see there may be some questions. I'll look at them later. I had a list of a lot of things I wanted to get out because I haven't been on alive for a while, and there's quite a bit of a backlog that I need to share. So what was beautiful, Femke and I, a week or so ago, for a few weeks, we were assisting ones privately, one-on-one, online with guidance. And what is always so amazing, we meet new ones, and in their modesty, these ones, they are so powerful. And one of the things, again, that we find, which is a common thing, is one's question yourself. So don't do that, and then you rise up. And with ones, there's such beautiful stories as well, and experiences they have had, and it's very beautiful. And I'm so grateful to see so many powerful ones that are out there as well, that we're able to assist and guide in some way. So I was very impressed with that. So the old is collapsing, and the new is being built. And this is the ascension. It's ascertained. Nothing stops this. And what's important in this time, each one, you are actually judging yourself by your actions. And because everything is energy, again, fear actions will not take you forward. You have to trust and empower yourself. We are going into a new world, a paradigm where fear doesn't exist. So you need to do your mastery to whatever level you can here, so then you go into this reality. And it's occurring. Don't put a stress on yourself with doing this. You be open and acknowledge that what I just said is actually happening. And by being aware of that, then it will come to you rather than you frantically searching for it, because once you do that, that is out of fear, and you will block it for yourself. So with this, you just need to be open and just be aware as things come in. And this is where your trust again comes in, where it's so important. So you bring more of you. What occurs, you're bringing more of your divine identity down into your physical and energetic operating at this time. And as you go through more of your inner work and your empowerment, you bring more of that divine identity down into your operating being and your divine role, what you're playing. But what comes with this is more of your memory, more of the reasons why you are here and what you need to do on the planet. But you need to go through your processes before you can access more of this. So this also is why it's necessary to pay attention, to what you need to do with your energy, and simply master all of the fear spectrum. And And the best way to do that is to go right into the fear itself, look at it, um, and looking, saying, at least without, I'm not getting into a full teaching with this, look at the fear that you have. If it's impatience, worry, whatever it may be, go right into that energy when you're feeling it and take control of it. Say, no, I'm not allowing this fear, this worry to control me. And consciously do it and trust and, just free yourself from worry, if you will. And without explaining more of that, but consciously, this is where your embodiment begins. Consciously, you use the tools with your energy and you master the fear energies, then it becomes embodied as trust. So with each fear that you master, it goes, but another level of trust comes in and replaces it. And your trust is your power as well, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. So, memory loss as well. I'll touch on this for a moment. You're perfectly fine if you're forgetting parts of your past, because this is common as well. So with your humanoid memory that you have, there will be pieces and segments of that will go, because they're no longer part of this newer, higher timeline where we're going in. And these memories that you might have had are not necessary, but also if they're able at certain times to come back in during this important part of co-creating, it could stagnate and install you back if you begin to think about things that takes you back to the past, to a lower timeline, rather than again going ahead. So there are certain bits of your memory, if you will, and it's by your soul's choice that does it with the consciousness, that will take these things out. So have no concern with that. If there's something you don't remember, like sometimes words, some of my vocabulary I was using, uh, I would forget the words, but it had to go. It's not that I forgot the words. It's been taken, because there are certain words that you use at certain times, and for the most part, for my divine work and what I do, I keep it as simple terms as I can, so it's easy to understand without using quantum entanglement theory and Max Planck's theory, and going into theories, going into creation, going into chemistry, biochemistry. I explain it in a different way that is more easier for ones to understand. And because, the real power is in, if you will, the meek. It's not in the educated ones for the most part. The more that ones have been educated upon the planet, the more conditioning, and at times it's tougher for them to awaken because the program is so intense. But it's easier for ones that didn't get into that intense indoctrination through the education, that these ones are awakening and are easier to awaken, and they've gone through their experiences, if you will. And so for the most part, the majority are down here, that we're not rocket scientists, if you will. We're common everyday people. This is where the majority is at, and this is where the power is also at. Because there is great humility and respect and good divine attributes down here. This is not to say that we don't have good angelic ones up here, that's in the higher educated things, but I'm just saying there's fewer up here. but it was and is necessary with the divine ascension up in this higher educated area to have light ones up there as well. But there's just not as many up there than what it is on the everyday people level, if you will, to explain that. So, your memory comes back. Let me have a look and see if there's some questions here. I'll touch on gpms.world because that is the Ascension as well. After a bit, I'll just see and catch up. See, the NGO cat is busy. We're contacting the NGOs, if you will, in around the world with GPMS. But this NGO, this is some of the darkness that's afraid, and this is some of the things what they do with their distractions. With their vain attempts, and it's great to see so many because it's very indicative of the fear of the darkness, and they're very quick to the end. So in their frantic desperation, they try to distract and whatever they can, but to no avail. So just having a look here. Okay, Jan Forster from Niagara. She says she has found it very difficult to be in such close vicinity to this powerful waterway, Niagara Falls. Also, I live in a 3-story building, and I believe I am probably being affected by the building and the energy of the people living in it. Are there things I can do to lessen the effect until I move? With this, Jan, yes, go inside, raise your vibration at mastering, not letting it to infect you, if you will. So again, begin here and build that out, and you will not feel as much of the effects. But also remember as well, you become more sensitive as an empath. So let's say living in that area a year ago was bearable, but now it would be multiply more intense because you become more sensitive as well. So by being conscientious of that even though it feels more dense there, begin within and apply what you know at strengthening your higher vibrational energy and working on raising your vibration as well and your power. So these are some of the things that you can do with this. We just opened a Mother Arc sound pillar in Toronto, which covers over that area. So what is occurring, there's pulses coming out from this sound pillar every, let's say, hour or so, and it is energy that is also transforming the energy in the area. It's transitioning it as well. So it would be perhaps a great idea for you to tap into the Mother Arc sound pillar there by knowing that energetic activation is there and the pillar is there. By you connecting also into that, it will assist in strengthening your being in the least in relation to that. I believe, yeah, and also, as you're saying, you need to soon move, and that is part of your divine knowing. Your soul will make it too yucky sometimes in places that you must leave. So it's the soul's direction, and it can be uh, a divine mechanism to ensure that you do leave an area when you divinely need to, because the human consciousness will most most of the time make ones adapt to where they're at, to always adapt. But you are in divine mode, and this is different. We must go in different areas, and we must push through things, and we must not allow the old energies to control us. And this is also why you're learning about the energies, because it's part of the mastery that you're not controlled by any density or any fear energy, because if you are, then it keeps you behind and you're going forward. To keep it simple. And Severin says, brother, how do we know if we're in the fifth dimension? You will know. There will be no darkness, no negativity. And let's say we're not there yet. Ones have reached their fifth dimensional state. All of those that are awake have access to their fifth dimensional state, but we just don't have the fifth dimensional world complete yet for all to go into. gpms.world, what we're doing is the Ascension arc that takes all into this new world. But again, there's the intricate process of the purification of each one to be able to acclimatize to this new reality and new vibration where fear and negativity and savagery doesn't exist. So this is right where everyone's at now. As everyone knows, you're in a savage world, and enough is enough. So you're going to the civilized world to experience heaven on earth. The utopia, it's very real. This is it's already being created, meaning that it is real and it's being created through gpms.world. It is inevitable, it is imminent, and ones are making the choices to become part of it, and by through the consent, of course, and adding their agreement and energetic support with it, because it's a new world, and once we have the majority on the planet, it is the majority consented, has added their agreement, then it is created. And that's why it's inevitable. It's a cumulative vote, if you will, and it's being done this way divinely, because really and truly humanity doesn't have time. So by divinely given a simple vote to the planet, even those that are not awake, if you will, they understand how a simple voting process works and how the majority rules. And in this case, where the majority of the people worldwide choose the gpms.world, which is the universal nation worldwide, they can easily see, yes, this utopia is very real, it's tangible, but they also can see it being created as more and more are joining and agreeing that they do want this free and abundant world and no longer this miserable matrix. But what occurs, each one needs to make this choice, and as we go forward, the lower timeline, things are getting harder, inflation and all of this, because it's divinely orchestrated that ones make this choice for the new world that are going, and the other ones that don't, these are, let's say, I'll use this, that the wicked stay behind and the righteous go forward. And this is what's occurring. This is the separation. And this is also why you have two timelines, a lower and an upper. The upper are those that are going forward, and this lower timeline, there's still that needs to judge themselves and makes the choice to go forward. And what's occurring upon the planet, if you will, I'll use what Jesus said: one will go and one will stay. And what this typically means is that approximately half of the world's population, or a little bit more, goes forward while half doesn't. And these are the ones that are still consumed by the matrix, into the alcohol, into all of these other things, the lust, into all of the fear spectrum yet. Unless they make their choices and cleanse, they are actually judging their self with the lower vibrational energies, and they don't go forward. And but many in the blink of an eye can wake overnight and do their purity, because the purity is necessary. You cannot have one that is angry in this new world, because you're a co-creator and you're contributing to a new world where anger doesn't exist. It has to be cleared here. We're going to a new world of harmony and peace, and yes, the love, and the, let's say, the logic, because right here upon the planet, on that lower timeline, there is no common sense and logic to any degree there. And with this, we are going into a sensible place. This planet is nonsensical, the lower timeline with it. And for the simple reason, the system that inflicts harm upon humanity and upon this planet of abundance and deprives ones of food and what have you. But I'll get a little bit more into that with GPMS there. And hey, Simone, good to see you as well. What else do we have here? Great. Yeah. So I'll go a little bit now into gpms.world. So as we said, what gpms.world simply is, it is a worldwide referendum. It's a worldwide vote to collect the majority people in agreement. Then what we do is we just create money, and very quickly with that, what we do is we prop up, fully funded with unlimited money, all of the essential goods and services worldwide, and all of the individuals at the same time, because what you're placing is all of humanity in a full place of comfort and civility, and it eradicates poverty instantly. Everyone has more than enough, and everyone has more than enough resources to thrive very quickly. Governments and banks, are not the only ones that could make money. The people, you are the value, and you get to choose how to make the money and how to distribute it. So with this, what we do is we come together with the majority voice, and we decide we are going to use money as a good tool, that we can create as much of it as we wish, and we will distribute it prudently and responsibly, but also abundantly and equally. So we have the choice. You have, like the governments in the darkness, placing value on gold that only a few have in control. But that nonsense for us, we know we are the true value, that not even gold or money or the value of gold would not exist if it wasn't for us. So we have the choice with one of your unalienable important rights, the right of self-determination, which means you have the full right as an individual, and this is already on the planet. It's one of your unalienable rights that's recognized mostly worldwide, that the right to self-determination means you have the right to decide how you wish to govern yourself or to be governed. But in this case, you're deciding to govern yourself, and part of that governing is your ability to make money. So when we have the majority together uh, deciding we're going to create money as a good tool, then it happens. Nothing can stop this, because this is one of your important rights which is already established upon the planet. And having said this, it is the righteous and moral thing to do. And simply the law with it is do no harm to anyone or anything. So basically also with the GPMS universal nation, and once we have the majority voice that is enacted into law, there are no criminals or anything that is negative or bad can be there, because the law is do no harm. And this is also why your current system of money and unequal, the disparity with it, and all of the classes, upper and lower classes, this doesn't exist up here. Everyone is equal, but we're creating it now. We already have over 82,000 have joined from 147 different countries worldwide, and more will join this as we go forward and are joining it. And once we have the majority voice, it's all over. The darkness cannot exist up here in this new world, because nothing is there to feed it and nothing is there to sustain it. So to keep that part simple, it needs to be understood that gpms.world is the replacement system for this existing reality. This existing reality is savage. There's about 153 million orphans around the world, and most of these are not even in orphanages. A lot of these are on the street. And these sort of conditions are savage. It's ridiculous. And when we look at just in the last 2 to 3 years, the amount of children dying daily from starvation around the world rose from 5,000 to 8,500 are dying each day now. So a 70% increase in the deaths of children around the world per day due to hunger, when it's unnecessary and it's unacceptable that we with GPMS World have the full solution that gives everyone everything they need. We wipe out poverty, we wipe out hunger, and we do all this instantly. As soon as we have the majority voice, it's done. And this majority voice of, let's say, 4.1 billion, but it will not even be that much because of what's occurring upon the planet, because the planet has gone into a depopulation mode the first times, for several hundred years. And because of certain events, and as I said, with the separating timelines, the higher timeline and the lower timelines, there are divine things that are occurring in this special time of the rapture, if you will. And I like to call it the rapture, because it really is. And the rapture is basically an upliftment, and it's the upliftment in the consciousness, but it's the upliftment of the individual into their morality and into their heart, into their peace. So they're being uplifted, because the value and the morality, all of this has been stolen from the people, if you will. They have been deprived of it. And GPMS is putting this all back in as each one chooses. So with this, because you become moral, you become the value again, compared to anything else out there except your brothers and sisters, it uplifts, it raises you, because you're not controlled by money that a few have and have made you uh, at its mercy to it. So you are set totally free. You are liberated, but at the same time, you are liberated into your abundance and liberated from the enslavement of that false illusion and control of money. But to keep it simple, and yeah, again, GPMS is the arc, and that's what takes you forward. And with that, I remember reading, with what Jesus said about the sermon in a Sermon on the Mount, and I believe they call it the Olivet Discourse as well, is that in the time of his coming, that it would be like in the days of Noah. There's ones that would not believe, and of course ones that will believe, but the ark is going to the new world. And the world, if you will, metaphorically was cleansed back then, and it is being cleansed right now. And any theologist, anyone that knows what is going on, and anyone that knows about religion and also how to read the prophecy in it, it's very easy to see and discern what is actually occurring at this time. And if you are to um, read what is written in the Bible and other prophecies, you can attribute them exactly to this time, meaning it's irrefutable that we are in this time, and it does mean that religion, Bibles, things did have substance, because you would not have this occurring in this now. But that's to each with what they resonate with and what they follow that leads them forward. And there's many paths that all converge forward to the new world. And these are all tools and guidance mechanisms and instruments through things that you read that resonates and makes sense, and you begin to also create that world where you are liberated by thinking of it, and keeping your focus in your direction toward that. So, having said that, yeah, it looks pretty good. Not any other questions here at this time? And if not, I'll end this one. And what I will say is I'll be doing what I feel. Oh, yeah, I anticipate in the following day to have Victoria Lillenquist on here. We're going to do a live, because her story needs to be shared outward to perhaps many of you that have not heard it. And this was Father's direction the other day, suggesting it's a great time to have Victoria come on and give her story. And if everything works out fine with that, we will do that approximately at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That would be, I think, 7 in Romania, somewheres around then. So with that, we will also give Victoria to give her important story. Also, what I anticipate is Brother Lee to come on as well to speak about some more higher consciousness perspectives and ways to, let's say, look at things, but more so to also look at gpms.world. We need to go more into that to show the seriousness, the absoluteness, if you will, of it, and to others in this important time, in the least. So, Matthew 24, chapter 24 in the Bible is a great short read, and also some of 25. Then it can put more of the pieces together for you. It needs to be read metaphorically, just knowing that it's a general direction, and you'll be able to perhaps connect the dots to this time to know where we're at divinely in what we're doing. It does have relevance, and of course the revelations, if you will. What I like to say is, on the lower timeline, the revelations are still playing out, getting near the end. On the upper timeline, it's already played out, so there's two different timelines as well with that. So the new world is already created, and we are, let's say, beginning to populate it with each one by their choices. So, any questions before I go? No, everything is looking great and pretty quiet. So, with that, love, light, gratitude, peace, and the big love, and all of the good things. And we made it. So keep in there and keep going with it. And we're getting closer and closer every day. We truly are. And you can use the on our GPMS website. You can look at the amounts of votes. It keeps accumulating as more comes in. This also gives you an idea the closer we're getting to the new world, and this can go viral at any point, and then it gets done quicker. So you can do that. Keep an eye on it if you wish, and if you have not already, be a join it if you wish to be a part of this new world, and we get it all done. So with that, love, light, gratitude, and have a beautiful time wherever you may be. And yeah, that's good. Thank you. Bye now.